So today, Open Society Foundations is pleased to announce 3 bold Africa-led initiatives that are providing long-term support to the continent around various key issues that we feel are important for building a future in Africa that is peaceful, democratic, and just. These are not just ordinary programs, they're long-term investments. They're intended to promote democracy, peace, prosperity, and we want them to be based from the lived realities of people on the continent. So we don't come with a ready-made program that has an idea of what should be done, but in each country, we will find like-minded individuals, institutions, and even government departments that want to promote human rights, equity, and justice, and we will partner with them to support their aspirations for a African continent that provides a better future for all. The 3 programs are Democratic Futures in Africa, and that one is really to reimagine politics and governance, to ensure that governments are actually accountable to their people and actually are thinking about the principle of Ubuntu and a shared humanity moving forward. The second program is a program called Resource Futures in Africa, looking at the immense wealth that Africa has, but doesn't benefit from. Africa basically ends up not benefiting from its natural resources and ends up actually paying more in debt in terms of interest than other places in the world. And so we want to make sure that Africa benefits from its great wealth, particularly critical minerals right now, and is actually able to leapfrog in its prosperity. We also have a program called Economic Prosperity that works around helping governments to think about new economic models and creating new jobs. And our last initiative is looking at the dangers we are seeing right now with backsliding. As young people are disillusioned with what they're seeing and they don't see a future for themselves, countries are becoming destabilized and actually falling into conflict. We are very worried about the situation in the Sahel, in Sudan, conflict in DRC. How is it that we can help support initiatives for peace, but not short-term peace, community-centered peace that allows for communities themselves to find the solutions and actually look at lasting ways in which we can remove conflict?
Now, Madam President, in all of these 3 programs that we've mentioned, like you said, DRC, Somalia, Sudan, Central Sahel, more and more we see that the civil society and even ordinary citizens are becoming more and more repressed or suppressed. How do you imagine OSF, through its partners, like you said, working through to achieve this mandate in the long term?
So I don't want to underestimate the difficulties that we're seeing, not just in Africa, but globally. We are seeing very volatile and dangerous times for those people who support issues of human rights, equity, and justice. But we also see huge opportunity, huge optimism amongst, and particularly in Africa, amongst young people, amongst women, amongst groups that have traditionally been excluded. What we are finding is there's new moral imagination, a will to reimagine the world we live in. And especially in young people, what I see is young people who've never lived in democratic spaces are actually speaking the language of open society and human rights. And that's very encouraging to see because the world these young people are going to inherit is actually a more and more dangerous and difficult world. And in that, what kinds of activities are we going to support? I think what we're looking for are new ideas, new imagination, creativity, what we call the art of the possible in a turbulent world.
And finally, OSF has, before now OSF OSIWA, has supported Africa for more than 4 decades. How are these programs going to be any different from what you've done before? At least we know that OSF has so far donated more than $2.3 billion to more than 50,000 organizations across the world. But how do you hope that these new programs will reshape the future of Africa for Africans and precisely, Madam President, youth?
So these new initiatives that we've announced are essentially because we are in a changed world. Open Society Foundations has provided support in Africa for decades. And we've done different kinds of work, consolidating democracy or freedom of the press or natural resource governance. What we have done today is we've made a recommitment to Africa around the key areas that we feel are coming up again and again and again when we talk to people in Africa. And so these are the issues that people within Africa in different places are saying this is the most important issue for us. Based on that feedback, we have constructed our initiatives that will now respond to the major challenges that people on the continent feel that we should do. For myself, this is a very important thing. I'm from Kenya. I am actually seeing my own country having huge Gen Z protests in response to growing economic inequality, and the need for us to really find solutions that are peaceful and that allow for greater prosperity economically, because economic poverty is also destabilizing democracy in Africa.
My last question, you are a woman, and in all programs over time we've seen that women more and more are captured. Yes, but they are almost at the bottom of benefits when it comes to implementation. How is OSF working to make sure that women and youth are represented across all these three programs and they benefit immensely? Do you have a sort of evaluation and monitoring mechanism put in place?
Open Society Foundations is extremely committed to the issue of inclusion, that we feel that societies cannot thrive unless everybody has a voice, including those that are historically marginalized. Now, within that, there's a number of different groups, but women in particular are not only hugely disadvantaged historically, but where you find is that there's huge resilience amongst women, there's huge levels of organizing, and there's real potential here for women to lead us out of the world that we are in. For the first time ever in history, women are graduating from university more than men. Give these young women graduates 10 years, and believe me, I think we're going to see quite an energetic group of women. We hope they will also move into politics. We've provided a $25 million fund to support women's political leadership, and all our initiatives will be looking to see how we can support women's groups.
Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you.